Bros. This is the GenZ Biker here from Road Dirt TV, and today I've got the beautiful 2020 Harley-Davidson Sport Glide, and I'm here to give you the top 3 reasons to buy this bike from a Generation Z motorcyclist perspective. And if you haven't already, make sure to check out my personal YouTube channel and subscribe to it for more Generation Z motorcyclist inspired content. But without further ado, let's get into the video, Biker Bros. What is up, Biker Bros? Alright, so we are on the Sport Glide. And first and foremost, before we get into my top 3 reasons, I want to quickly recap, Generation Z motorcyclists' desires when it comes to a motorcycle. So I'll first give you my top priorities as a Generation Z motorcyclist. And honestly, it comes down to the fact that, I need a motorcycle that's versatile, and that the bike is well-rounded with its capabilities, and that the bike looks good and can be modified to suit my personal aesthetic desires, right? And that brings me to point 1. So point 1 for why you should buy a 2020 Harley-Davidson Sport Glide is versatility, right? We've got a lot of different factors that come into play that make this bike a very versatile bike. We've got quick detach parts. The front windscreen as well as the rear bags are quick detach. You've got a adjustable rear monoshock, ABS, cruise control, a 5-gallon gas tank, and really all of that makes this a versatile motorcycle that is a desirable motorcycle for a Generation Z motorcyclist, right? With those quick detach parts, you can go to the grocery store and get $100 worth of groceries, or you can go do a 500-mile day. So really, it just the possibilities with this bike are limitless. You can very comfortably get on the highway and put down a bunch of miles. This past Sunday, I did a 500-mile day trip from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to La Crosse, Wisconsin, and it was absolutely amazing. I wasn't necessarily fatigued. I was kind of expecting, okay, maybe the stock seat I would have some butt pain, but I didn't. This bike really does do it all. Taking that versatility a step further, you can very easily modify it with, a sissy bar so that you could throw some extra storage on the back of the bike, or even Harley-Davidson offers an upgraded windscreen. I think it's an extra, it's 5.5 inches, I believe, if I remember correctly, to really just make that bike even more versatile than it already is, Point number 2 as to why you should buy the 2020 Harley-Davidson Sport Glide is the fact that it's simply a more unique option than, potentially going with a Lowrider S or a street or a road glide. It's just so much less mainstream. Everyone seems to have a street glide or a road glide, or on the Softail line, everyone seems to have a Lowrider S or a street bob. But it seems to me that no one has a Sport Glide. It comes down to the question, do you want to ride with the crowd or around the crowd? Do you want to be unique and have a bike that no one else has, or do you want to have the same bike as everyone else? How many times do you go to a bike night and see, 50 vivid black road glides or street glides or Lowrider S's? You see those all the time. Set yourself apart, get a Sport Glide. Now, point number 3 as to why you should buy a Sport Glide is that it's just such a streamlined motorcycle, right? It's a no-frills bike, or should I say a less frills bike than, your fully fared bagger, in that, you're not going to have to dish out an extra 5-10 grand that you would on a road glide or a street glide just to get the dash with the screen, you know, the Bluetooth connectivity, the heated grips, all of that stuff, right? You know, as a Generation Z motorcyclist, I'm gonna always have my phone on me, and I'm always gonna be wearing my helmet, right? And if I can save 10 grand on a bike to not necessarily have to have that screen on the dash and simply just mount my phone onto the handlebars, or use my cardo unit, which is always on my helmet anyways, and I'm never gonna ride without my helmet, you know, I'm gonna do that, right? As a Generation Z motorcyclist, we don't necessarily have the finances to go drop 25, 30 grand on a bike. So we're more financially wary. We're gonna save the money where we can with a simple adaptation like a mounted phone on a handlebars, or a Cardo or Senna, whatever it may be, right? So after logging 800 plus miles on the 2020 Sport Glide, what do I think about it, right? You know, I can tell you all day top 3 reasons to buy, or talk about the specs of this bike, but what do I actually think about it, and how does it make me feel? To be totally truthfully honest, I love this bike to begin with, but having the opportunity to put 800 plus miles down on this bike really emphasized my feelings towards it, you know? I found myself riding more often than not than I had ever done before, simply because I could do anything, right? I was able to buy $100 worth of groceries. I was able to go to and from work and not have to worry about, you know, where I was going to put my gear once I got to work, you know, bopping around town. And, you know, I even did a 500 plus mile day trip, like I said, from Milwaukee to Wisconsin La Crosse, and I was really comfortable. You know, I found that the Sport Glide does indeed live up to its name, in that it can be sporty, kind of ripping around some twisties, and with that off-the-line power, but you can also really hammer down and put some miles on this bike, and do it comfortably. You know, it's got plenty of torque at the low end for that off-the-line power, and, you know, curving up the twisties and whatnot. But it's also a very comfortable bike when we're looking at long-distance motorcycle travel. Initially, I was worried that my butt might get a little bit sore just with the nature of, you know, having a stock seat, but I was actually pleasantly surprised to find that my butt didn't actually start hurting till the latter half of the trip, probably about 350 miles into that day. So in terms of things that I might change on this bike, there's really not a whole lot. This is really an awesome bike, but I do have 2 recommendations for Harley on how they could potentially make the Sport Glide even better. So point number 1 would be to maybe offer some different color options. I'd like to see a brighter blue, a matte white, maybe a Nardo gray like they have on the CVOs at the moment. I think that adding more color choices will only make this bike more attractive, especially to the younger crowds. You know, we want to stand out a little bit. Give us some brighter color options. Now, you know, my second suggestion to Harley-Davidson would be, you know, to bank on the versatility aspect of this bike and, you know, take it a step further. People like this bike because it's versatile, so give us even more versatility. You know, if people want to upgrade the rear hard bags from the factory and maybe have the option of having like quick detach Street Glide style bags that open from the top that are paint matched to the color of the bike, give us that option. That is only going to make this bike even more attractive to us Generation Z motorcyclists. You know, I don't want anyone telling me what my budget is. You know, I want to get what I want to get, you know, as I, you know, increase my financial capabilities as a Generation Z motorcyclist and individual. You know, I want to be able to, you know, continue to further make this bike more capable and do what I want it to do. But anyways, Biker Bros, this is GenZ Biker, Ride Life. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up below. Subscribe to Road Dirt TV as well as my personal YouTube channel, GenZ Biker. And make sure to hit the bell icon below to be notified of future Road Dirt TV YouTube uploads. Peace out and ride safe, biker bros.